Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm your host Jamie and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. If you haven't already, please press the subscribe button, or if you're on Spotify, follow me and rate me 5 stars. I want to hear your thoughts and comments, so leave them in the comments. And yeah, I love you guys. So this episode is themed cheating stories, and let's get into it. The title of the first story is Caught My Girlfriend, 20 Female of 18 Months with Another Girl. Her Absurd Reaction. Trigger warning: homophobia, infidelity, and outing someone. I saw people get a lot of responses on here, so I thought I would create an account to see what advice anyone can offer. Sorry for the essay. Okay. A little backstory. I'm 22 and my girlfriend, we'll call her Jess, and I have been in a relationship for nearly 18 months. She's very attractive, and in all honesty, I wouldn't say I'm a lost cause, but I'm certainly punching a bit. Anyway, last week, we were at an exhibition function for our shared university course. It was a fairly normal evening up until I saw her talking to this girl from the other side of the hall. Nothing unusual, I just didn't recognize her. However, when they turned around, I noticed the mystery girl had her hand seriously low on my girlfriend's back. I didn't think much of it at the time, but they were completely inseparable for the entire evening. The next week or so, we were unusually distant from each other. I wanted to make sure nothing was wrong before I went away. I was going to Bristol for the weekend, and I didn't want to leave things on bad terms before I left. But she was having none of it, just being really blunt and such. So I left for my parents, who were giving me a lift to Bristol. But when I got there, Mom said the old man was ill and we wouldn't be going, at least not today. So, already angry that she didn't tell me this over the phone, I drove back to ours in a foul mood, and that's when I caught her. The front door was off the latch for some reason, so I didn't need my key. I came in the door normally, but kind of stopped when I heard what sounded like Jess giggling. We live on a ground floor flat, so there's no floorboards to creak. As I got closer, I could hear someone, clearly a female, sound quite breathy, like panting. At this point, I thought Jess might have been having some alone time or something, so I was about to make myself known until I looked down and saw a pair of worn pink All-Stars that I knew were not Jess's. At this point, confusion was starting to build, and as I turned the corner, our bedroom door was wide open, and there was the girl from the gallery in my effing bed, and someone was beneath the covers. Quote, "What the F is this?" Unquote. I believe that was my first reaction. Gallery girl just stared at me, shocked, yet as I called to Jess, something strange happened. Absolutely nothing at all. She just stayed under the covers and didn't move. For what felt like the longest time, I just stood there open-mouthed, until I finally shook myself into action and started to leave. Next thing I know, she comes flying out of the door into the hallway of the block, wearing just a pair of knickers and a vest, for God's sake, trying to somehow make this out to be my fault. I literally didn't know what to say. She's freaking out, and all I come up with was, quote, "You're not wearing anything. Get back inside, and we'll discuss this later," unquote. When I got back to the car, the belated rage began to set in. I was angry she cheated, angry she blamed it on me, and angry I didn't say something else. Honestly, it's the most ridiculous, absurd scenario ever, and perhaps that's why I wasn't so angry initially, but now I'm wondering what to do. I didn't know she was into girls. She never mentioned anything like that, and now she's cheated on me with one, and we're renting a flat together. Is this just her experimenting? Can we recover? Has anyone been in this situation before? I'm at my wit's end here, people. Okay, so the way that the whole entire time I fully thought this was a lesbian couple. Like, I was reading that as if the OP was a girl. I mean, I was just confused until the last sentence, and she said I didn't know that, or he said. See, I literally thought that was a girl. I think it's because he didn't say if he was male or female. Yeah, so I just kind of just assumed this was about two girls dating and the girl was cheating with another girl, until he said I didn't know that she was even into girls. But there's an edit and it says, "I just realized how insanely British this all is. So lift equals ride, knickers equals panties, vest equals tank top, flat equals apartment." I was wondering what the hell. I was like, why does she have a puffer vest? A Patagonia? Like, why does she have a vest on? But now it makes sense that it's a tank top. Everything else I kind of knew just because I'd be watching Love Island UK all the time. So I kind of am always learning British slang, and I love it. Whenever I'm watching Love Island UK, I like turn into a British person for that whole like month, and I just start saying like, I'm buzzing, I'm buzzing. And I can't remember any of the other stuff that they say, but every time I watch it, I just fully take on British people slang, and I love their slang so much. Okay, someone said, drop her like it's hot. She's just trying to justify being a shitty person. That's not your fault. Yeah, it's obviously not his fault. I mean, why would it be? I'm sure she's just like shocked, and that's why she tried to blame it on him. But I can't imagine that after like the initial shock, which still isn't right to do, obviously, but I feel like probably once they talk about the situation, she's not gonna like blame him, and if she does, that's gonna be even more crazy. But I'm sure she just like in the beginning, she's whoa, like he just caught me, and the first thing her reaction was just to be defensive, which I can understand if you're trying to like get away with something, but there's really no, like, how can you even defend yourself when he just walked in on you cheating on him? I could never imagine like being like, oh my God, I can't believe you just did that, when he walked in on you literally cheating on him. But I guess I can't really imagine being in this situation as a whole, because this is a crazy situation to be in. And like both parties, obviously way more crazy for OP, because finding someone cheating on you is like the worst possible scenario in like a cheating situation. I would much rather just find out someone was cheating on me rather than walk in on someone cheating on me. But yeah. Okay, someone said, can you go into a little bit more detail about her absurd reaction? You teased it in the title a little bit, trying to somehow make this out to be my fault. Didn't really deliver. OP said, well, partly absurd because she was wearing basically nothing out in the hallway where strangers from other flats come and go, and she's historically quite a modest person. Worse, though, because she said something along the lines of, you said you were leaving for Bristol, which absolutely flabbergasted me. Then the nail in the coffin was, what? So I get all the blame for this? To which I had no appropriate response other than absolute fury. So I took the decision to calmly tell her to go back inside, and I left. That's crazy. What? So I get all the blame for this? Yeah, you get all the blame. That's kind of how it works, girl. Like, that is kind of how it works. Edit, I've read nearly all the comments now, and honestly, you guys are pretty much spot on, I'm afraid. I wonder if you guys can hear this fucking bird chirping. He's literally, what are you doing? Are you calling for a mate? Like, she's not out there. Okay. You guys are pretty much spot on. I'm afraid I can't go back to her and keep any shred of dignity. You were thinking of going back to her? Especially after I found Gallery Girl on Facebook earlier and messaged her. She admitted it's been going on a while and is desperate for me to not tell anyone. As much as it would be a shitty move, I'm seriously considering outing them both. Knowing her friends, the last thing Jess would want is for them to think she's into girls. I know it's petty, but I'm just so mad right now. Oh, well, probably don't do that, please. Definitely don't do that, please. I mean, you could go ahead and be like, tell the world that she cheated on you, but probably don't purposely out her to her friends, especially if her friends are homophobic. The last thing Jess would want is for them to think she's into girls. That's really sad. Okay, someone said, in regards to your edit about outing her, I understand that you already said you wouldn't, but please consider before telling anyone anything, no matter the circumstances. Outing her could put her in physical danger with her family, her friends, random people on the street. It's not just a shitty thing to do. It's literally bargaining her physical health, living situations, friendships, relationships, etc. She did a horrible thing, but nothing calls for that. I agree. And what's crazy is that we've had stories like this before where it's like, they're like, the person's like, I'm not going to out. It's mostly like husbands, I feel like, is the stories that we've read on here. But people will comment, like multiple people will comment and be like, are you kidding me? Like, they have every right to out them. Like, they're the one that did it and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that is crazy to me that people actually think that that's okay. Like, you are so messed up if you think it's okay to out someone for being gay, because exactly what this commenter said, like, it's not only is it dangerous and it puts her in danger, but it's just never the right thing to do ever. And I understand that you're hurting, but that doesn't have to do with her being gay. Like, this doesn't have to do with anything with her being gay. I mean, maybe she felt like, you know what I mean, okay? But it's that she cheated on you. Like, that's the situation. And if you're mad that she cheated on you with a girl, then you should probably take a look inside of yourself and see why you're mad about that. But like, you using this against her also is a red flag for me, because it's like, why do you think that's something to use against someone? Like, why do you think that why do you think that telling people that she's gay is gonna make like all her friends not like her anymore and stuff? I mean, if they do, like, they literally suck if that's how they feel, if they're homophobic, which I really hope that that's not the case, but it kind of seems like that's what it is. Yeah. Okay, someone said, this is the UK. People aren't as bothered about these things as they are in the US. She certainly wouldn't be in any physical danger. Pretty much all the women I know identify as bisexual. It's not all that surprising when you find out girls like being with other women. I don't think it matters what country you're in my opinion. I just think even if she wouldn't be in physical danger, okay, put that aside, it's still not the right thing to do. It's not your story to tell. Your story can be to shout from the rooftops that she cheated on you. Go ahead, do that. I'm all in support of that. Like, if that's what you feel like will make you feel better, she did a terrible thing. She did a horrible, awful thing to you. So that's fine. I would be telling everyone if someone cheated on me. I'd be like, yeah, he cheated. Yeah, he cheated. I would be damn near almost like telling everyone, making a TikTok about it, being like, this is how my boyfriend cheated on me, how I found out my boyfriend cheated on me. Like, I would do that. I don't care. But probably never the best idea to out someone. Okay, update. OP responded to that and said, honestly, the worst thing that would happen is that her asshole friends, who she used to make derogatory lesbian jokes with, would realize how much of an effing hypocrite she has been this entire time. Couldn't think of a nicer outcome for the girl. Okay, OP, you're starting to make me not like you at all. All right, 2 days later, there's an update. Had a lot of back and forth texts with the ex. She stopped saying she's sorry and said trying to say that I didn't see what I thought I saw, which is hilarious. Here's the kicker though. She told one of our mutual friends, a girl, that we split up because she had a guy around and I hit the roof and overreacted. Wasn't going to divulge the full story to anyone, but after I heard she said that, I told this mutual friend the whole story. Mutual friend didn't believe me, so I showed her the messages between me and Gallery Girl. Now her friends at least know that she's a cheat and a liar. Also, I told the landlord I'd like to take myself off the lease because this has happened and he's looking into it. Hopefully that can be resolved in the next week or so. I've also been getting spammed with texts from Jess today saying I'm heartless and I've ruined her life. Oh, the irony. Oh man, so he really did out her to her friend. But I don't think that it's right for her to like be saying, I'm confused by had a guy around and I hit the roof and overreacted. Yeah, she should have said that she cheated. For sure. For sure. But I'm not really loving this OP, honestly. While I sit here on my balcony and smoke my last cigarette for today, bedtime, nothing better has ever satisfied this loneliness of mine than reminiscing about a post I read earlier today by OP, and the result being posted with sweet vengeance. Bless you, stranger, you've made my heart a little lighter. What? OP said, obviously, it's a shitty situation all around, and honestly, I was willing to pretty much let it all slide after I cooled off from yesterday. But lying about me to our mutual friends, no.
If you want extra content weekly, head over to patreon.com/storytimesociety and become a member on there for extra content. Love you.
I know people are in my comments are going to be mad at me for sticking up for this girl. I know it. I just know I'm getting ready to hear the sexist comments saying that I'm so sexist and I always take the woman's side. But like, sorry, I don't think it's right to out someone. That's so fucked up. Well, here's some good advice then. Stop talking to her. There's nothing to gain from it. I mean, come on. She's obviously an idiot. Thinking back to the first post when she was hugged up in the gallery while you were there, how does a person that stupid manage to feed and clothe themselves? Okay. Someone said she told one of our mutual friends, a girl, that we split up. Oh, he's this person was responding to them saying that, and they said, I suspect once you start lying like she did, all bets are off. She compounded an already terrible situation. I don't think she thought things through. I'm actually shocked at how many people are agreeing with him, saying that it's okay that he outed this girl. Okay, the top comment on the Best of Redditor post is, she was just giving the girl a tour of the bedroom and slipped and fell face first between her legs. It's not her fault. It's OP's fault for catching them. I'm dead. And then someone said, it's crazy the amount of people that don't realize exploring one's sexuality without your partner being cool with it is actually cheating. I don't think that that's what she thought she was doing. I feel like she knows what she did wrong, but she's just being like defensive about it, which isn't okay at all. But clearly there's nuance to the situation. Someone said, I thought OP was a girl until the line, I didn't know she was into girls, but the post still reads the same whether it's a gay or straight couple. No, literally me. Same. Dying at the fact that she tried to Jedi mind trick him into believing he didn't see Gallery Girl getting worked up to an orgasm. Jesus, poor guy. And then someone said, the comments about experimenting are surprising to me. They are framed in a way to justify her behavior, which I do not understand. If it was her experimenting, she still willingly had a sexual relationship with someone outside of her current relationship, and it's only a matter of duration. Even if she tried it and decided it was not for her, how is that not still cheating? Yeah, I'm confused. I don't really understand. I'm not seeing any of these comments, but I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree that it's okay to experiment in a relationship unless it's okay with your partner and you talk to your partner about it and they're like, yeah, go ahead. That's fine with me. But if you're experimenting in a relationship, that is cheating. I think that you should just break up and then you can go and do all the experimenting you want. But I don't think that I don't think that excuses your behavior because you're saying that you're experimenting. Like, no, you're cheating. You're cheating if you're having sexual relations with someone outside of your partnership without them knowing. Someone said, as a very monogamous bi woman, that shit pisses me right off. No, it's not experimenting. It's cheating. Full stop. If you have sex with someone without your partner being on the same page, then you are unfaithful. Cheating is cheating regardless of gender or orientation. And then someone responded to that and said, seriously, when you enter into an exclusive relationship with someone, that means nobody else. Not nobody else except for people whose genitals match mine. And then someone said, agreed, as a monogamous bi woman too, that also pisses me off. I hate when people use being bi as an excuse to cheat, or when they assume all bi people will cheat. It is experimenting. The hypothesis on the experiment is, if I cheat, but it's with a girl, will my boyfriend let me get away with it? Apparently her findings were, no, he won't. Oh my God. Well, let's just say, I'm going to literally say, honestly, everyone sucks here. I know it wasn't an Am I the Asshole post, but that's my verdict, is everyone sucks here, because she sucks for cheating. He sucks for outing her. And it's as simple as that to me. Truly. So let's get into the next story. The title is, I'm the Other Woman in an Older Man's Marriage. So to begin, I, 27 female, am a bartender in a vacation town. A few weeks ago, I had a customer come in alone who was pretty shy at first. He was older than me. I would later find out he was in his 40s, and I thought he was really handsome. I chat up all my customers, but eventually it slowed down to a point where he was the only one in the bar for a bit. So we got to talking and hit it off pretty fast. He explained he was in the area on a work trip, and while I don't want to give specifics that would identify him, I found his profession to be really endearing, as he told me he works with disabled children. We got to know each other throughout my shift, and he gave me his number before he left for the night. I texted him the following morning, and we got to chatting pretty regularly. He came in again during my next shift, and afterwards texted me to ask if I'd like to go grab some drinks somewhere. Though I wanted to, I had a flight for a wedding the next morning, and I needed to pack after work, so I declined. A day or two after I returned from the wedding, he let me know that he was back in the area for work and asked again if I would like to meet up for drinks. This time I said yes, and after I got out of work one night, I met up with him. Our texting up until this point had been vaguely flirty, but neither of us had admitted outright that we were attracted to each other, so whether this was a date or not was unknown. I've also never been in a situation like this where I was interested in someone 15 plus years older than me. At some point during our time together, I asked him if he was divorced, since it was hard for me to believe that he'd never been married before at his age. Looking the way he did, he told me, yes, he'd been married and divorced before to a woman he'd been in a relationship with for over a decade. He made no mention of being with anyone else currently or being in any sort of open relationship. Throughout our time together, we got more flirty, and eventually I admitted that I hoped this was a date and that I was attracted to him. He let me know the feeling was mutual, and at the end of the date, I asked to kiss him, to which he said yes. We kissed, and he asked if I would like to come back to his hotel room with him. Because I had class the next morning, I politely declined, even though I wanted to say yes. We ended up going our separate ways, and ever since that night, we've been texting almost every day. Our conversations got progressively more suggestive, and though it didn't turn into full-on sexting, it got pretty close. I was becoming more and more interested in him and really looking forward to the next time that he would be in my town, so I could finally take him up on his offer to join him at his hotel. I noticed that while he really seemed to be enjoying texting me, he didn't ask me many questions about myself like I asked questions about him. He told me a little bit about his life and his dogs, and that the next time he would be in my town, he would be bringing them with him. Out of curiosity, I asked who watched his dogs while he was on his work trips. He said friends watched them. I mentioned that maybe I could come visit him in his town at some point since it wasn't too far away. That way he wouldn't have to drive to see me or arrange for his dogs to be taken care of while he was gone. His exact response? We could certainly work on that, he said. That's when I got the gut feeling that wouldn't go away. It literally kept me awake until I pulled out my phone and got into investigating. I didn't know his last name, but I knew his first and where he worked, so I Googled that. I found him pretty quickly, and once I learned his last name, I looked him up on Facebook. I found his profile almost immediately, along with, you guessed it, his wife's. I sat up in my bed and just stared for a few minutes. The pictures from their wedding were posted just a few days over a year ago, meaning he was texting me about all the places he wanted to kiss me during their first anniversary. There's a lot I have to be grateful for here. I never slept with him, and I found out who he really was after only a few weeks. Based on what he told me about his job, his childhood, and his love of dogs, I truly thought that he was sweet and an honest guy. Usually I'm very good at picking up when people are lying, as I've been gaslit and manipulated into romantic relationships before. I know this is how every Reddit post of this nature goes, but with him, I really believed everything he said. It was only that one slip up over text that gave him away. Now, I have his wife's Facebook account. I know I need to tell her. I was never looking for exclusivity with this man, as I honestly don't have the time for it, but I refuse to be the other woman. His wife deserves to know what's been going on. I know if I was her, I would want to know. I've already started screenshotting my conversations with him for proof. I guess I'm just posting on Reddit right now because I need assistance with the execution of it all. I really am not a malicious person. If I feel any anger at all, it's on his wife's behalf. I don't want to destroy his life, mostly because that would probably just end up hurting her too. So, Reddit. What's the best way to tell her that her husband has been stepping out on her with me? What's crazy is I am the type of person that immediately will find someone on social media. Like, if I met a guy and I was interested in them in any sort of way, I would be looking them up on social media, like, immediately. I don't even care if he's 40 plus years old. Like, I've, like, not dated a 40-year-old, but I've hooked up with I think he was 40 or 45-year-old before, and I immediately found his Instagram the next day. I was like, what is this looking like? Because I don't care. Like, I wasn't thinking that he had a wife or anything, but I don't know. I just want to see, like, what is he posting on Instagram? Is he super weird? What's going on here? So, not saying that it's her fault at all, but it's just so interesting to me that people don't do that, because that's just something that I immediately have to do when I meet someone. Like, I want to see what their social media looks like. Yeah, you should definitely tell the wife, send the screenshots. It's crazy that he got married so soon. He got married a year ago and he's already doing this. That's crazy. I was expecting it to be like he's been married for like 20 years, and not to say that that is any type of excuse, but I don't know. It's more common, I feel like, to hear that someone's like, oh, we've been together 20 years. The marriage is stale. We don't ever have sex. So I had to look for it somewhere else. Although that's obviously not okay. But he literally just got married he just got married. Like, why are you already stepping out? How do you even have time to already step out? You should be in the honeymoon phase. It's crazy. I hate that though, because it's obviously not her fault that he's cheating, but I would hate to be put in that situation because she's the one now that has to deal with all of that. And like, she has to go text this girl and like, I don't know, honestly, also at the same time, like he knows where she works and stuff. And I feel like I would just feel like I was in danger, even though I would 100% be telling them. I would be telling her. I think I might want to do it like in an anonymous way, but I feel like then maybe she wouldn't believe me or something. And it would probably be better to go to her. But I just never could trust, like, even if she thinks that he's like a really good guy and stuff, like I can't trust someone and truly be like, yeah, he's a good guy. Like he's not gonna be absolutely pissed off at me and do something crazy. I would be fully suspecting that, and I don't know. Okay. OP clarifies the timeline of the relationship of how she got to talk with the man. OP said, hi, I know I worded that a little weird, but it's not AI. Just a few days over a year ago, as in it's only been a little over a year that they got married, and we were talking during what would have been their anniversary. Someone said she definitely deserves to know that her husband is picking up women in bars. Just tell her, I think you should know that your husband is not being faithful, and then send her the screenshots if the text in a brief explanation of how you met, how he invited you on dates into his hotel room. Update me. Never protect the cheater. His wife deserves to know. Send her receipts too. You both deserve better. Okay. So there's an update. 3 days later. Hi again. A few days ago, I posted asking for advice on how to tell an older man's wife that he was trying to cheat on her with me. Since then, I received a lot of feedback, which I'm grateful for. Before I get into what I chose to do, I just wanted to clarify a few things. A lot of people took issue with the fact that I didn't know his last name after talking with him for a few weeks, and others thought I wanted to steal him from his wife. I guess I didn't explain well enough before, but I was never looking for an exclusive relationship with this man. School and work are my top priorities right now, and because of that, I simply don't have the time or emotional energy for a committed relationship. When I met him, all I was hoping for was something casual, especially since he didn't even live in the area. He could have been hooking up with other women while seeing me, and that truly wouldn't have bothered me, as long as he was being honest about it and wearing protection. I didn't think to ask him his last name before the 3-week mark because I really just hadn't made an emotional investment. But you are all right. If I'm going to get involved with someone romantically, sexually, in any capacity, I should learn their last name much sooner, at least before I go out with them. One person also said to avoid tourists and people on business trips from here on out, and I agree. Even in the casual sense, it's gonna get messy. Like I said, if he'd been seeing other women, it would have been fine with me. Some of you said he might be in an open relationship, which I touched on in my first post. I don't think this is true because the point of an open relationship is that you're open about it with your partner and the other people that you're seeing. He never mentioned being in one at all or having a wife at all. So even if he was, he still lied to me. So for the actual update, I told her. The question in my last post wasn't whether to tell her or not, it was how. Though lost sleep over this for the last few days, I spoke with some of my close girlfriends and they all said that they would want to know if they were the wife in this scenario. I decided to message the wife when he said he would be at a doctor's appointment. I thought reaching out to her while she's alone and has time to process before seeing him would be best. I essentially explained the situation just like in my last post, with some extra details I left out here for anonymous sake so she would know that I wasn't lying. I apologized a lot, sent her screenshots of our conversations, and asked her that she not tell him that I gave her this information. If she went through his phone on her own like I suggested she should, then she would be able to see the proof for herself, and hopefully she would decide to just leave me out of it for my safety. I told her I would leave our chat open for 24 hours if she wanted to talk or request more screenshots, and then I would block her. At this point, I had already blocked the husband's number and his Facebook account too, just in case, even though we weren't friends. So 24 hours have passed and no response. I'm not sure if Facebook allows you to see read receipts for messages if you aren't friends, but I know the message was delivered. She hasn't responded, and so I've gone ahead and blocked her. Before I found out about his deception, the husband mentioned that he'd be in my town this week, and he knows which days I work. Hopefully this is the end of the story and I never see either of them again, but if he decides to show up at my bar, then I will update if I'm still alive. Thank you all again for the feedback. P.S. to the guy who messaged me suggesting I could be the other woman in his marriage too, You're wild for that. Oh my God, you are wild for that. But why did you block her when you don't even know if she read the messages? I feel like you should have waited until she responded at least, because what if she didn't even see the messages yet? And like, then she's going to see them randomly one day and it's going to be like a month has passed and then, oh my God, I just got this message, and then she's going to try to message you and then you're not going to respond because you blocked her. I don't know. I feel like at least wait, even if it takes a while for her to respond, so you know that she got the messages. Even if it delivered, that doesn't mean that she read it necessarily. OP clarifies on the older man's posting on Facebook regarding the doctor's appointment. OP said, no, he didn't put on Facebook that he'd been at a doctor's appointment. He told me that he would be there prior to finding out he already had a wife, because we were talking about the next time he would be visiting my town. OP responds to a downvoted comment on how they met if she didn't know his last name. OP said, I didn't tell him where I worked. He happened to come into the bar that I bartend at while I was working, and that's how we met. And then a downvoted commenter said, you're exhausting, and I feel like every potential man you date should be required to read this entire post you wrote and its update first before they agree to go out with you. I think you need to be really upfront with the type of person you are. Okay, what does that mean? OP said, honestly, this is great advice. If I could wear a big sign on my forehead that says, don't try to cheat on your wife with me, I'll tell her on every date I go on. It would save me a lot of time, energy, and money. Yeah, like, what do you mean? You're exhausting? What? So you're cheating on your wife? Is that what you're trying to say? Someone said, if you messaged her and you're not friends, she'll only see it if she sees there's a message request. As for read receipts, if you looked at your message sent and a dot with her profile picture appears at the right bottom, then she read it. I'm hoping you have some kind of support at the bar you work at should he come in and be angry. I'm sure you do, but definitely have a buddy with you when you leave if he doesn't appear for the time he's supposed to be around. Ooh, yeah, see, that sucks. Like, would hate having to be concerned about that all the time. The top comment says, doesn't blocking the wife mean that the wife won't see the message even if she goes to her message request folder? I've missed things in that folder before and discovered messages several months later. But if someone has blocked you, wouldn't that message just no longer show up? And then someone responded and said, yeah, I almost never check that folder and I almost never use Messenger in the first place. So that was probably a lost shot. And by blocking the husband, he's likely decided to clear her from his phone. So the wife is left in the dark. Someone said, yeah, I lost my wallet with a bunch of money in it, and I saw the message request 7 years later of the guy trying to give it back. That's actually hilarious. And then they said, I asked him if there's any chance he still had the money. It was like $700. He said, bro, that was 7 years ago. Come on. I said, that's fair. Well, it was a gift for trying to be a good person. Imagine they kept the money. Like, you don't think I spent that money 7 years later? Brother. That's so funny. Like, yeah, let me actually open a compounding savings account, put the money in there for you, and then in 7 years, I'll have like $1,000 to give you. That'd actually be nice, honestly. I'm trying to lose $700 and have someone do that for me. I'm starving right now. I just all of a sudden got so starving. I feel like my belly is going to start growling so loud and be a guest on this podcast because... boy, am I hungry. I'm hungry, mommy. Okay. We're going to move on to the next story because what more do I have to say about that? I don't have much to say other than I hope that wife finds out and leaves his ass. The title of the next story is, my husband cheated on me with our much younger neighbor, initiated the divorce, and is marrying her soon. Both me and my husband are 46, together for a decade. We have 2 children. He climbed the corporate ladder, a very intelligent man and ambitious like no one I ever met. He became the director of the whole company, hundreds of people under him. With every year, however, and every promotion, he became more arrogant, confident, uptight, stern, strict, demanding, and demeaning. He didn't treat the people very well. He raised his voice often. He had a dictator style. He even made a 23-year-old girl cry, a new hire. Because of this, we often had conflicts. I work in the same place. He didn't bring me there. We met there. But I do not report to him. I report to the headquarters. I saw how mean he can be and how intimidating. He wants those goals met and doesn't care how much pressure he puts on the people. I often call him out. I don't keep quiet. If he raises his voice at me, which he does often, I raise my voice back at him and put him in his place. He might be the big boss at work. At home, he is a husband and a father. And I found out that he's been having an affair with our neighbor, a 30-year-old woman who is all a man could dream of. Waist-long hair, slim, has big breasts, soft-spoken, beautiful. It had been going on for around 3 months. Her explanation was, to another neighbor, that he acts like she always wanted her father to act. Her father was a lazy, chronically unemployed alcoholic who made her ashamed of herself. My husband was her ideal masculine man. Tall, slim, clean-cut, blue eyes, and someone who can take control. Quotes because I saw she sent a text to my neighbor that said this. Husband told me that he wanted her because she was what he wanted a wife to be. To listen to him actively. Understand. Cook for him. I did cook for all of us, but not daily. Spoil him. I was against him, he said, and aligned with those lazy subordinates of his. Also, he wanted more children, and I was too old. He initiated the divorce and was told he's marrying her. I met her at a grocery store yesterday, and she waved at me like she's a winner. And meanwhile, I found out she was somewhat of a town's bicycle. Town's bicycle is crazy. So he wants a submissive wife, and you are a bad bitch, feminist. I don't know if you're a feminist, but you sound like it, because that is exactly what you should be doing. Like speaking up to your husband because he's treating other people like shit and going against him for treating other people like shit. Yeah, that would be all I would wish for if I had a boss that was like this man. I would be like, oh, I wonder if his wife just lets like him be however he is, or if she actually sticks up for us and tries to make him not be such a dick. Also, ew, he acts the way she always wanted her father to act is crazy. I mean, I know that there's that phenomenon where you're like, look for your father in a partner. And I do see that happen a lot. And like it could be even bad traits too. Like not even, well, I guess that's the opposite of what she's saying. She's saying that he's the opposite of what her father was. So I guess this does not apply at all. But it's just weird that she's saying like her father. Like, what do you mean? You're not dating your father. You should say that this is how you always wanted a partner to act and what you always wanted in a partner, not compare him to your father. Like that's actually so scary to me. And he's gonna be miserable and he's not gonna treat her well, and obviously I don't wish that on this girl, but he is obviously an asshole, and I feel bad for, obviously OP I feel very bad for, but this girl is gonna be treated like shit as well and be under him because he clearly looks at everyone like they're under him. And I hate the fact that, like, it really pisses me off because I always think about how, like, there are so many people in the world that deserve so much money and deserve so many good things to like happen to them, and they deserve to be like the CEO of a company, or they deserve to be like a multimillionaire, and they're not. But meanwhile, there's these absolute arrogant asshole dicks that end up at the top of a company, like thinking they're the best person alive. And it's like, sir, please calm down. You're actually disgusting me. Okay, someone said, she's the winner to that train wreck. Rebuild your life and live it. Enjoy the alimony and child support. Agreed. OP should thank the neighbor for taking Mr. Asshole off of her hands. She might actually find someone that appreciates her now, right? She basically did OP a favor. She thinks she won, but she really just signed up to deal with his ego and temper. OP dodges a lifelong headache. I doubt that Miss Airhead Bike would understand the sarcastic undertones. Wait, so does a bicycle mean that she like gets around or what? But, like, that's how I took it. Like, she gets around, like she's a little, okay, let's see. What does it mean to call a girl a bicycle? I feel like that makes sense. A woman who is promiscuous, a town bicycle. Not me hearing the beeping to my front door when like people put the passcode in. I just heard a beep outside and I thought that someone was trying to get in. I literally almost pooped my pants. Okay, so that's what it means. I love context clues. Yep, a bicycle and a sheep. She won a life under his thumb while he makes big alimony and child support payments. She can have that, man. She will be controlled, which is why she's the perfect person for him. I'm glad you stuck up for yourself. You will be the one who will be blessed at the end of the day. So sorry this happened, but it may turn out to be a great big favor for you. Best wishes to you. Opie said, we have 2 sons and they still don't understand. Our oldest is 12 and I had to take him to a therapist because he's in depression. Aww. Well, I'm glad you took him to a therapist because that's all you could really ask for as a mother with someone with a kid that has like depression, or even just noticing symptoms of depression and noticing like anything mentally off with your child is just like so important to get them to a therapist or like get them to a psychiatrist. Yeah, I feel like I've talked about my experience with like mental health a lot. Also, wait, sorry, before I start talking about that, I wanted to say that this person on Spotify is commenting on every single post where I talk about how I love animals. It could be like it's nothing to do with food or anything like that. I could literally just say I love animals so much and like I love my cats. They will comment and say you don't love animals because you're not a vegan. Literally every single time I say anything about loving or respecting animals or like anything about crying over animals, every single time. It's actually so annoying. It literally is so annoying. I'm like, am I pissing you off that much saying that I love animals? It's actually insane. Also, I was a vegetarian for 7 years, not a vegan. I was vegan for like a year, maybe a little under a year, but I was a vegetarian for 7 years and then like I also had an eating disorder. So I was not doing well health wise, and it could probably mostly have been to do with my eating disorder, but I don't like to like blame it on vegetarianism, but I was vegetarian because I love animals and I really wanted to like help the environment being a vegetarian. And but vegetarianism was a way to like feed my eating disorder as well. It was an easy way for me to be like, oh, I can't eat that because I'm a vegetarian. Oh, I can't eat this, I'm a vegetarian. Or whenever I would go out to eat, like it would limit me a lot so that no one around me thought like, oh, she's not like eating, or so that me personally, for my own like eating disorder brain, that I wasn't overeating or getting something that I would overeat, because most options at a restaurant for vegetarians are not like it's going to be vegetables or like a salad or something. So that was a part of like my eating disorder brain, and that really fueled my eating disorder, was being a vegetarian and having so many restrictions, and that made it a lot easier for me to indulge in my eating disorder. And I started to losing my hair. Like my hair started coming out in clumps. And so I slowly introduced fish back into my diet. And then I decided to just fully stop being a vegetarian after 7 years of being a vegetarian and thinking that I was going to go my entire life never eating meat again. Because again, I did do it truly for the aspect of the animals and the environment. But at the end of the day, like it just wasn't healthy for me. It wasn't healthy for my brain, restriction, and it wasn't healthy because I was literally starting to lose my hair and I had no energy, and I just wasn't doing it right. Like I know that there's a way that you can do it right, but I feel like when you have an eating disorder, you have to be really careful about diets and things like that, because it can trigger that super easily. Like I'm not super triggered, but I find myself being triggered not as often. I feel like I've worked through it a lot with my eating disorder, but I will get triggered like with certain things. If someone says something to me like that's like not healthy, if someone says that I'm eating something unhealthy or something for like no reason, I find myself getting very triggered by that. That makes me like want to just, I don't know. And obviously they could just be not thinking anything of it, but it's like that makes me want to be like defensive to them and be like, okay, you're telling me you eat like that makes me want to say something mean to them. Be like, you eat healthy every single day of your life? No, I don't think so. So yeah, that like triggers me. Certain things trigger me. Like sometimes when I don't know, just a lot of things trigger me. I'm not going to say everything that triggers me, but yeah, vegetarianism unfortunately did trigger me a lot with restricting and saying, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. And it helped a lot. Not helped, like in a bad way, it helped because I was able to restrict myself. But anyways, I thought that was so crazy. I'm on the verge of blocking this person because they're annoying me every single time. And then they'll comment something nice on the next video and be like, oh my God, like blah, blah, blah. And then they'll comment on the next video, you're not a vegan. You don't respect animals. You don't love animals. I'm like, dude, can you get out of my comments? Like, you're actually so annoying. You don't know people's life, their backstory, their health. Like, not everyone can be a vegan. Not everyone is able to be a vegan, whether it be for mental health or just health reasons. Like, you don't know what if I had like a disease or an autoimmune disorder or something. You don't know me. You don't know my health. So that's crazy to be commenting that all over people's, like constantly commenting that. I understand if you want to say that once, but to be constantly commenting that over and over again is just wild to me. But also, someone asked me to talk about my mental health journey with like getting on medicine. And I feel like I've talked about that a lot, and I don't want to like repeat myself because I definitely feel like I have. But maybe I'll make a video and post it on my personal vlog channel about that, because I do feel like I've talked about my mental health journey and me getting on medicine a lot, like repetitively on this podcast over and over again. So I don't want to like repeat myself again, but maybe I'll make a little mental health story time on my personal vlog channel, which is in the link in the description if you want to follow it. I put vlogs. There's no set schedule in there. I just vlog sometimes and post it randomly. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please let me know what you thought in the comments. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye.
Storytime Society is now available on all listening platforms. If you are on any of those listening platforms, I would really appreciate it if you rated me 5 stars. Thanks for all the support.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.